It's been 40 years since James R. Wilburn first became a part of the Pepperdine family. Tonight, we celebrate his 4-decade odyssey at the university. Dean Wilburn's connection with Pepperdine began in 1915, when his grandmother took a job in a school located on what is now Drescher Canyon Road in Malibu. Little could she know that decades later, just a few miles south of that one-room schoolhouse, her grandson's office would sit atop the campus of a university that he has shaped and helped define in numerous roles over 40 years.
I first met him in 1967 in his little kitchen in Wichita Falls, Texas, and had dinner with his family before I spoke at the university for which Jim worked in those days. And from that moment, I tried to recruit him to come over to our big church in Lubbock and run the Bible chair at Texas Tech University. And Jim said to me, "Bill, I've decided that I want to go to Los Angeles to UCLA and get my PhD." I said, "Well, God bless you." Within a matter of 6 months, I had made a decision to leave Lubbock and go back to Pepperdine. So I never stopped recruiting Jim Wilburn. And with the help of Jack Scott, who's the chancellor of all the community colleges in California and Jim's dear friend, we got Jim on board at Pepperdine, and we never let him go off board. He has done a half a dozen top jobs with superior and almost unbelievable strength and steadiness.
In 1971, Dean Wilburn arrived at Pepperdine's Los Angeles campus as a professor of history. He soon moved to the role of provost and shared in the difficult decision to fully transition the university from its original campus to its Malibu home. By 1977, he was the vice president for university affairs and founded the university's first major support group, the Pepperdine University Associates. Under his leadership, the organization enlisted 400 charter members, double the number of new friends to the program than he originally envisioned for the inaugural year.
Henry James once said, there are 3 important things in human life. The first one is to be kind, and the second one is to be kind, and the third one is to be kind. And everybody I know who knows Jim Wilburn has a story or 100 stories of some kindness he showed to them or somebody else. He's just one of those people who lives that dictum.
Dean Wilburn's early years at Pepperdine coincided with his early years in politics, where he formed lifelong friendships as the executive director of Richard Nixon's re-election campaign of 1972 for Los Angeles County, and as president of the board of directors of Ronald Reagan's Citizens for the Republic Education Foundation.
So Dr. Banoski asked Jim to take a leave of absence and go run the Nixon campaign day to day down on Wilshire Boulevard, and they asked me to go along and staff him. So I took a year off school, and that's how we met.
And Jim, whose roots I know in Texas were somewhat Democratic, kind of moderate, was running one of the most famous re-election campaigns in American history.
So I'm sure they were thinking, who's this guy, and how does he fit into all of this? But I can tell you there was nothing but respect for his leadership in that campaign.
As he advanced in his career at Pepperdine, Dean Wilburn decided to earn his MBA at the University School of Business and Management, but Pepperdine refused to lose such a visionary leader. Not long after he walked off the stage with his MBA PKE degree in 1982, he was called upon to accept a new leadership role as Dean of the Business School, segueing into a new phase of his career at Pepperdine.
Jim had this favorite saying, if I've heard him say it once, he said it 50 times. And that's, on our deathbeds, we never remember what we accomplished, but we remember who we were with when we accomplished it. We'd be in a really tough meeting and, struggling, and he would just out of nowhere say, you know what, we're not going to remember this issue years from now, but we'll remember who we were with when we faced this issue together.
Always the visionary, Dean Wilburn foresaw a day when the School of Business would have a physical presence on the Malibu campus. He climbed the hills of what is now Drescher Graduate Campus 10 years before the bulldozers came, and cast wildflower seeds over the area he envisioned would someday be the site of the business school. Dean Wilburn led the business school for 14 years, teaching business strategy, growing the school to the third largest MBA enrollment in the nation and overseeing its new presence on satellite campuses in West Los Angeles, Encino, and Irvine. Meanwhile, he was drawn back into politics in Europe and post-Cold War Russia, preparing him for his next step at Pepperdine.
Jim Wilburn has moved at great speed through some of the sharpest turns at Pepperdine, always on the right side, always helping to build. Others may leave, he stays. A bigger job is needed, he says yes and takes it. Not for his own recognition, but for the fulfillment of making the most of his life.
By 1996, Pepperdine was calling Dean Wilburn to climb another mountain, this time as the leader of the newest graduate school at the university. As the inaugural dean of the School of Public Policy, he oversaw the founding of the Davenport Institute for Public Engagement and Civic Leadership, helped students throughout the years gain high-profile policy internships, and built the school from the ground up with a reputation for strong leadership and great compassion.
Jim has a great background himself as a professor of economy. He's been dean of our Graziadio School of business here. He has a background that is really suited to start a new program at a university, and especially one in public policy. So naturally, when his name was proposed, everyone I knew just jumped on it and thought that is the right man at the right time.
Jim has meant many things to Pepperdine, but I think the most important one is a consistency of image. He, no matter who the president is or who the deans may be or vice presidents, Jim has been a consistent presence at Pepperdine.
There's many words to describe Jim. I would say in one sentence I would describe him as a trusted friend and mentor.
I'm particularly proud of the program that Jim has created here, and that is what he will forever leave as a signature on our School of Public Policy.
He could have taken big government posts, certainly sub-cabinet positions several times. He didn't even consider those things. When he found Pepperdine, he knew that he had found the meaning of his life.
He's definitely had an impact on my career.
To me, the interesting question is not, what has Jim done for Pepperdine? It's what he's going to do in the future. And this guy's still swinging the bat. And my guess is that we haven't even begun to see the kind of contributions that Jim's going to make.
Throughout his 40 years at Pepperdine, Dean Wilburn has been known as a dedicated leader and a true, passionate believer in Pepperdine's mission of preparing students for lives of purpose, service, and leadership. A passion that has taken him through 4 major roles at the university and that has allowed him to shape a better Pepperdine.